4 quarters of Notre Dame football.
He's met by Alohi Gilman with a nasty hit. Chase Claypool reaches across the goal line. Touchdown Irish. Still moving. Chris Fink inside the 20-yard line. Down he goes.
No matter what happens, we stay together.
Intercepted by Jalen Elliott.
Look, a great fake. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame has now won 15 consecutive games at home after beating USC 30-27. We welcome you to Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com, along with former Irish linebacker Corey Mays. I'm Darren Pritchett. Corey, a very solid performance by Notre Dame beating their rival. What was the difference?
The difference today, yards after contact. Each defense seemed to struggle with turning little plays that should have been contained, and they turned into big plays for each offense. I think Notre Dame still edged out in the amount of total yards for the game, and that was the difference in the game today.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the first half highlights from Notre Dame Stadium. It's USC and the Fighting Irish, the 91st installment of the greatest intersectional rivalry in college football. Notre Dame going for their 3rd consecutive win over the Trojans. Right off the bat, the Notre Dame defense impacts the game. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah with the sack. Eventually, USC would pick up a field goal, a 40-yarder by Chase McGrath, 3-0 USC. To the second quarter, the Irish looking for some rhythm on offense. They go to Chase Claypool for 9 yards. Then it's Tony Jones Jr., the start of a big night for the Irish running back. He picks up 12 yards and an Irish first down. On first down and 10, the pitch to Jones. And watch Tony break tackles. Cuts up the middle of the field, and he'll scamper 43 yards to the USC 30-yard line. On second down and goal from the 10, it's Book to his tight end Cole Kmet, 10 yards out, touchdown Notre Dame.
Book was able to stand in the pocket and deliver to his tight end right here. He breaks the tackle and is able to actually, seems like he avoid an injury right here from the corner coming in to tackle him.
7-3, Fighting Irish. And how about this? Braden Lenzy takes the pitch, turns the corner, and the speedster is off to the races. He will go 51 yards for the Notre Dame touchdown, and the Irish led 14-3.
Oh, this Irish offense got to the perimeter. He looks like a racehorse at the Kentucky Derby right now. He can't be stopped. You can't do anything for this type of speed.
The Irish with an 11-point lead in the second quarter. USC looking for an answer. The freshman Slovis under pressure, and Khalid Kareem with the sack for the Fighting Irish. Before halftime, Notre Dame tacks on 3 points, a 45-yard field goal by Jonathan Dorr, and the Irish led 17-3. Notre Dame in the second quarter, 9 plays of 10 yards or more. And as we take a look at the first half stats, Corey, you see the rushing numbers starting to add up already for the Fighting Irish.
Yes, the Irish offense is beginning to identify themselves. They're pulling off that mask, that Cape Crusader. You know, this offensive line was very physical and dominant, and Tony Jones ran like they told him this is the last day you'll ever play in an Irish uniform. He ran angry. He ran with fire today.
Well, the Irish had a 14-point lead going to halftime. We'll take a look at the second half highlights next on Inside Notre Dame Football.
Thomas Aquinas tells us to love both those whose opinions we share and those whose opinions we reject.
There's always a line.
For they all help us in our search for truth.
You get what I'm saying? Like, all we're doing is shouting.
This land was made for you and me.
The atmosphere on this campus, in that stadium, doesn't happen anywhere else but here at Notre Dame.
This tradition, this history is about great teams.
A great field, great atmosphere. This is why you play at Notre Dame.
Here come the Irish. Jalen Elliott intercepted. Book. End zone touchdown. Chase Claypool hit by Kareem. Julian O'Quarr. Gilman's got it again. Jafar Armstrong.
Welcome back to Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com. I'm Darren Pritchett, along with Corey Mays. Thanks to a strong second quarter, the Irish went to halftime leading 17-3. Let's now take a look at the third quarter highlights from Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish got the football first. They got into scoring range, and Dorr connects from 52 yards out, and the Irish had a 20-3 lead over USC. Notre Dame had scored on 4 consecutive drives. McGrath answers that field goal. The USC place kicker boots it through from 27. It was 20-6. Then Slovis to Amon-Ra St. Brown, 38 yards for the USC touchdown, and the lead was down to 20-13 going to the fourth quarter. Early on in the fourth, another field goal by Dorr from 43 yards out. The Irish led 23-13. Slovis, the freshman, lobs the ball right corner of the end zone, and Tyler Vaughns makes the catch. 23-20 Notre Dame. Then the Irish go back to the ground game. Jameer Smith, 13 yards to the Notre Dame 46. Then it's Book, an RPO. He finds Cometel on the far sideline for 12 yards. Then Book in the pocket, sees an opening. He runs up the middle, angles to the left, and he will go 17 yards to the USC 13-yard line. Then it's Book, once again, running forward. 8 yards for the touchdown, his third rushing touchdown of the year, and the Irish led 30-20.
Ian Book was masterful on this drive. He put this team on his back and led them down the field, and the Irish offense scored when they really needed it.
13 plays, 75 yards. Marquise Stepp played for the Fighting Irish in high school, but it was Cathedral down in Indianapolis. He scores against the Irish against Notre Dame in this contest to make it 30-27, but the Irish close out the game. Brock Wright recovers the onside kick, and Notre Dame seals the victory over USC. Final score, the Fighting Irish 30 and the Trojans 27. A lot of yards in this football game, 473 for the Irish, 426 for USC. But when you rush for 308 yards, you've got an awfully good chance to win the football game.
This is what we've been begging for. This is what we've been wanting to see. Downhill, physical running. This is the identity that you need to see, especially going into this bye week. Now, on the opposite side, on the defense, you don't want to give up those yards, but you do have that bye week to correct those things.
176 yards rushing for Tony Jones in the contest. The Fighting Irish are 5-1 after beating USC 30-27. Stick around, more Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com, is coming up.
Thomas Aquinas tells us to love both those whose opinions we share and those whose opinions we reject.
There's always a line.
For they all help us in our search for truth.
You get what I'm saying? Like, all we're doing is shouting.
This land was made for you and me.
The puck is dropped and away we go. It's a hockey night in South Bend. A great environment as always here at Compton Family Ice Arena.
What an atmosphere, and off we go. Stastny to the backhand. Scores! What a goal! Spencer Stastny!
The puck's rolling down the ice. 5, 4, 3. Burt has it. 2. That's a Big Ten tournament championship winner.
Along with Corey Mays, I'm Darren Pritchett. Welcome back to Inside Notre Dame Football, following the Irish's 30-27 victory over USC. Ian Book, 17 of 32, 165 yards, had that key rushing touchdown late in the fourth quarter, helping the Irish to take down the Trojans. Let's hear from the Irish quarterback.
The last drive with a lot of design quarterback runs, which I don't think you guys have done a ton of this year. Could you just sort of walk through that possession, what you're trying to accomplish, why you felt like it worked?
Yes, great play calling. They were bringing pressure off the edge, so just wanted to go take it up the middle, and the line did a good job of sorting it out. They were kind of doing some games with the line, so it's hard when you got the quarterback draw, but it worked out perfectly, and saw the end zone, and I knew I had to get it in there, so it felt really good.
And the offensive line tonight, could you just assess the job that they did?
Yeah, they did phenomenal. I'm super proud of those guys, and obviously can't thank those guys enough. They did a great job. yeah, I hit the ground when I was running. So that's it. I didn't hit the ground when I was in the pocket. So, I can't thank them enough. They work so hard, and they're doing great. And, yeah.
Just following up on that, when you start moving the football in the second quarter, you scored 17 points, and I know you came out in 2 tight end, but really after that, I mean, was it just the push of your offensive line? And they have a pretty good interior defensive line.
Yeah, it was really, I think in the second half, our tempo was really what was going well. We started to get in a rhythm. Coach Long was calling the right plays at the right time, and we were getting in a rhythm, moving the ball down fast. And the running backs did a great job tonight. And that goes to show you the O-line was also doing a great job. So when you rush for that many yards, you can't complain.
Your turnover margin has been great this year as a whole, and I mean, how much is that at the forefront of what you do in avoiding the big mistake?
Very, very important. I get the ball every play, and Coach Long says it all the time: smart with the ball and no penalties, and that's going to win the game. So, I take a lot of pride in that. Got to, secure the ball at all times, get it in the right guy's hands, and especially when we had that long drive where we needed to take off some time, and it's all about ball security. So the whole offense did a great job doing that. Thank you.
Ian, down here, when you get the ball back there on that last drive, do you look for that pressure? Do you enjoy having the eyes on you and knowing you're going to get the play calls and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think I really felt that all 11 guys were truly confident that we were going to go down and score. I could feel the buzz, I could feel the energy, and I was as confident as I've ever been.
Somebody might have the button down.
I knew we were going to be in the right play calls, and we just had to go out there and do it, and that's what we did.
How about Tony Jones tonight? Why don't you assess his performance a little bit?
Yeah, I'm super happy for Tony. I see him work hard every single day in practice and work his butt off. So, he's being rewarded for that like he should be. So he's a great tool in our offense, and he keeps doing that. It makes everything. It opens up everything else in the passing game when he can run like that.
Ian, there was a few drives in the second half that stalled Jonathan Dorr coming in, hitting clutch field goals. Where have you seen his growth since he struggled this spring to this point?
I think just his composure. He went out there. He knew. He went out there and just knew he needed to put up points for us. And when we weren't able to, score a touchdown, we rely on him to go out there and do that. He did a great job. Also, he's another guy that I see really working hard every single day. So, he's come a long way. It's been awesome. I talked to him after the game. I just said, really proud of you, man. Good job. You helped us win this game. So I've seen a lot of growth in him.
How do you, knock on wood, not get hurt as a quarterback doing all that scrambling and on quarterback draws?
I don't have the right answer for you on that one, but it's part of the game. I consider myself a dual threat quarterback, being able to extend the play. So, I put my own self at risk, but that's why I play football. And I take a lot of pride in being able to extend the play, and that's part of it. I don't really think about it.
Ian, we mentioned a few drives stalled. You had to rely on Jonathan to get through. That last touchdown drive almost stalled. You had a 3rd and 10 there, and you scrambled through it. Do you remember what the play was supposed to be there? I don't think that one was a quarterback-designed run.
No, it was not. They had it covered, pretty well, and I just saw, the line open up pretty big with nobody there, and I knew exactly where I needed to go. I needed those 10 yards, biggest 3rd down in the game. So, I was going to do whatever I can to get to that yard marker. But I saw it open up. I might have been able to still probably go through my progression on that play, but it opened up. I knew I could get 10 yards. So
you realize now you might have had a guy, but once you had those 10 yards, that's all you really cared about?
Yeah, I wanted to get those 10 and move on. Obviously, big 3rd down. When I saw it open up, Coach Long he says if you see it open up like that, go take it. Let's get the 1st down and move on. So
thanks.
The comments of Ian Book, a touchdown pass and a rushing touchdown for the California native playing against the USC Trojans. He once again used his tight ends very effectively in this ball game. Even though Tremble didn't make a catch, he was out there a lot in 2 tight end sets. Cole Kmet, 6 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. He is a big physical tight end, great at blocking, and he has been a big part of this passing attack since he's came back from the broken collarbone that cost him the first few games of the year.
He's been a valuable asset for this Irish offense. He's a big target. He can block. He can catch. This is something that the Irish really needed.
Komet averaged 10.2 yards per catch in the ball game against USC. As you take a look at his touchdown catch in the first half for the Fighting Irish, you know, he's a guy that's very well put together. He's physical, but there's some pretty good speed as well. And we've already heard from some of the NFL draft experts that it's a weak tight end class coming up for the NFL draft, and that doesn't diminish what he's doing, but he is highly thought of right now as one of the best tight ends in the country. Do you feel like the two tight end set is one of their best offensive formations right now, considering they like to play a lot of three wide receivers, and they ran the ball pretty well in three wide receiver sets tonight, but do you like that two tight end set?
I like the two tight end set. I think it gives them some different looks, and I think when they want to get physical, they can get physical. I like them running downhill.
Yeah.
Let's continue to do that. Let's get the Irish moving forward. I know you have to give different looks and you're doing different tricky things, but let's get going north and south.
Well, you're setting up Tony Jones Jr. highlights then. Let's talk about the running back's big day. 176 yards for Tony, a career high. He did it on 25 carries, and he had a long of 43 in this game. Tony is one of those guys that maybe doesn't have that breakaway speed, but he's a bruiser. He'll keep pounding you, and I think that probably paid off as the game went on, as USC got a little worn down by the running of Tony Jones Jr.
I think this is what you want to do. You want to tackle, and you want to punish the tacklers. This is something that you want to wear them down. You want them tired. You want them in the fourth quarter that they don't even want to see you anymore. So I think this is something where Tony has really stepped up. I mean, he has that cape on today. He was flying around like Superman.
48 carries, 308 yards for the Irish, 6.4 yards per carry, with Jones leading the way with those 176 rushing yards. As an old linebacker, when you see a guy that big coming at you, what do you grab onto?
You just grab on anything that you can at that point. You know, like you have to just fly up and just take them down any way you can.
Well, in today's college football and even in the NFL, you got to get creative running the football, and the Irish try to get some defenders in tough spots in space, and they sure did it with Braden Lindsey in this ball game. He's a track star that plays wide receiver for the Fighting Irish, and he had the 51-yard touchdown run, and I thought it was a beautifully designed play. If we can take a look at the highlight, watch the offensive guards. They pull to the right side.
Yes.
What happens? The defenders all follow the blocking scheme.
Misdirection. You still need fire extinguishers on the field because he left fire running down the sideline. This guy is fast, and they have to find a way and creative different ways to get him the ball.
Beautiful misdirection designed by the Irish offensive coaches, and Lindsey, the 51-yard rushing touchdown. He also had a catch in the ball game. Notre Dame over USC 30-27. The Irish are 5-1, heading to a bye, and then it's a trip to Ann Arbor to take on Michigan. Ooh. More Inside Notre Dame Football right around the corner, presented by TireRack.com.
When you execute a search warrant, it's essential that you're prepared for the worst.
Ready? Ready, go.
You don't know what's waiting for you behind the door, so you respect your surroundings and trust your training.
Police department, we have a search warrant.
Executing a warrant is my favorite part of my job.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Julia Gately is part of the St. Joseph County Cybercrimes Unit. Under the leadership of Mitch Kaiser, Notre Dame students are sworn in as investigators and work on real criminal cases in the community.
Last one in.
Okay, it's all secure. Go ahead and grab the evidence kit and go in and start processing the scene. Police officers are experts in criminal law, criminal procedures, but for the most part, they know very little about technology and the internet. They didn't grow up with it their entire lives.
Looks like we've got a hidden flash drive here. All of us have been just immersed in technology. Our entire lives are on our phones. Technology has a way of showing the truth in a way that nothing else really can.
Traditionally, it takes between 6 and 9 months for a cybercrimes unit to evaluate all the evidence. In St. Joseph County, with our students, we're able to measure it not in months, but in hours and in days, holding people accountable for the crimes they commit and getting justice for our victims.
These students have helped solve a homicide. They've identified additional victims in a crime, and they've revealed evidence that has exonerated someone from a crime.
Just being able to actually see the real-world impacts based on the work that we've done at the unit is incredible. This experience has solidified what I want from my life.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to uncover the evidence.
We are the Fighting Irish.
Along with former Irish linebacker Corey Mays, I'm Darren Pritchett. We welcome you back to Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com. Great night for the Fighting Irish as they beat USC 30-27. We can talk offense, we can talk defense, but the third element of a winning football team is excellence on special teams. And boy, did Notre Dame get some great work from their place kicker tonight, Jonathan Dorr. In a three-point game, Dorr was huge in this contest as he converted field goals from 43 yards, 45 yards, and 52 yards, and he took care of all of his extra points. And, of course, it takes the entire operation, good snap, good hold, and Jonathan Dorr came up big, including that 52-yarder. Again, so important in a one-possession game.
As they say, as a kicker, you only have one job. And today, he did his job today. He earned his paycheck. This is masterful by him, making sure he came today. He was efficient, and that really made the difference today in this game.
And almost a huge play to start the third quarter as Michael Young accepted the kickoff return, and it looked like he was going to be bottled up right around the 20-yard line. Then all of a sudden, he slipped through, and it looked like he was off to the races, and possibly he was going to exchange hands. He was going to change the ball from one hand to the other, and the ball just slipped out of his hands. That might have been a kickoff return for a touchdown.
That was going to be a huge momentum builder for this Irish team. You hate to see a mistake like that happen and it just slipped right out of your hands. I was ready to run with him right on the sideline as he scored this touchdown. So
near miss, but it still set up at least a field goal for the Irish. Defensively, they were taking on a freshman quarterback in Slovis who had not played since September 20th against Utah when he suffered a concussion. But he performed pretty well in this football game, 24 of 35, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he was sacked 4 times in the ball game. And Troy Pride, Notre Dame's best cornerback, had a pretty nice game with 5 tackles and a pass breakup. When you consider the speed and the talent at wide receiver, I feel like the Irish, even though they were playing some deep safeties for most of the ball game, they tried to keep the ball in front of them. I thought the secondary handled things pretty well tonight.
I thought they did. I thought in the second half they really got away from rushing the passer, or they weren't really effective in getting to him. Even with the pressures, this USC offensive line really stepped up, and they were able to block. And that really was the difference, is he was able to have time to throw to these receivers and make plays.
Khalid Kareem came up big once again for the Fighting Irish along the defensive line. He recorded a sack and also had 3 quarterback hurries in this contest. The USC offensive line is considered pretty decent, and the Irish had to mix up what they were trying to do tonight. They played rush 3, drop 8. They would blitz, so they tried to keep things, I guess, rather interesting for the freshman quarterback.
They tried to keep things interesting, but what it really did in the end was it gave him time, and it allowed him to really step up and play quarterback. It allowed him to make big plays and get drives together, and it made this game a lot closer than a lot of us think it should have been.
Asmar Bilal led the Irish in tackles tonight, the linebacker with 11 stops, 8 of those solos. He also had a couple of tackles for loss in the contest. Alohi Gilman from his safety spot had 9 tackles in the ball game, and the freshman Kyle Hamilton had 8 stops in the ball game. And without Sean Crawford playing the nickel, that's a vital loss. He suffered the dislocated elbow a couple of weeks ago. Notre Dame had to switch some things up because the slot receiver, St. Brown, is so talented, great speed. You saw Elliott, the safety, playing the slot defender for parts of the ballgame, which meant more time on the field for Kyle Hamilton, and that says a lot about what the Irish think of this freshman defender.
Well, you know what? You have to be the next person up, right? And this is why you recruit. You want talent. If someone goes down, that's the nature of the game. Someone else has to step in and step up. And I think they had a great game plan going in of how to stop these dynamic receivers.
Let's go to the field. Tony Simeone is standing by with a guest.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Notre Dame kicker Jonathan
couldn't hear what
Dorr
you
after
said.
Notre Dame's win. Jonathan, I just heard you got the game ball in the locker room. Just talk me through that. How did that feel?
It was a surreal experience. You know, it's something that you kind of always dream about. And when it finally happened, it was really special, you know, to be a part of the win tonight.
You kicked a 52-yard field goal tonight in a really big spot. Just talk me through what was going through your mind there. There were some people that thought maybe the punt team would come on, maybe they'd go for it. What were you thinking on the sideline?
You know, it's awesome that Coach Kelly trusted me in that spot. You know, that means the world. And you know, at that moment, I wasn't really thinking too much. Just kind of go through my routine like I always do and hit the ball the best I can and see what happens from there.
Do you know where that field goal ranks all time in Notre Dame history as far as distance?
They said third on the Jumbotron, so.
Do you know what the longest one is?
56.
53. So you're pretty close. How deep can you go?
Wherever they ask me to, you know, I feel probably comfortable, you know, 55 beyond. You know, whatever they need. You know, sometimes elements make a difference, sometimes they don't. But tonight I felt pretty good, you know.
It seems like you've really been getting in a nice rhythm throughout this year. What's been working well for you?
Just, you know, trusting the process and staying focused on the little things, you know, coming to work every day. You know, just trying to get a little bit better every day, you know, not kind of worry about the distractions and the other stuff.
One of the reasons that a lot of people come to this university is to play in games like tonight. The atmosphere was incredible here. Just tell someone like me who never got a chance to play in a game like this, just what was it like to be a part of this?
That's what makes it special, you know, the magic of Notre Dame Stadium, this university. You can't replicate that anywhere else. And, you know, tonight it really prevailed. We needed everything we could get, and that's what we got.
You guys are now at the midway point of the season. What's the mindset? You get a chance to go on a bye, get a little bit of a breather, but now at the midway point, what's the mindset going into the second half?
Just get as much work done this week as we can. You know, enjoy a little bit of time off, see our families, take a little bit of a breath, and then come back and get ready for the Michigan game.
Congrats on the win and enjoy the break.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Thanks, sir.
Well, place kickers sometimes have to hit important kicks in tough spots, and you could see how relaxed he was. The lights went out. He never even flinched. That's a good sign, wasn't it? Well, the Irish win 30-27 over their arch rival. You've been a part of this Notre Dame USC rivalry. You have a lot of rivals, and there's a lot of teams that look at the schedule, and Notre Dame is their biggest game. So I'm sure you had a lot of big wins in your career at Notre Dame. Beating USC, where does that stack up?
It stacks up right at the top. You know, like you wanted to keep that rivalry trophy in South Bend, and right now it's enjoying these South Bend winners. It doesn't want to be a snowbird, so this is the third year in a row. It's going to stay in South Bend, and this hopefully next year is the fourth, and we just keep on stacking them.
First time the Irish have beaten USC 3 years in a row since 1999 through 2001. The Irish have now won 4 of the last 5 against the men of Troy. Braden Lenzy had a 51-yard touchdown run. He's now standing by with Tony Simeone.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Braden Lenzy after Notre Dame's win over USC. Braden, this is an environment that I think a lot of players wish they could play in. Just tell me what it was like to be in this building tonight.
Just really special. I mean, last time I was here, I think it was Michigan, yeah, when everyone wore green. You know, I redshirted, and I was just like, all right, like, next time I see this green, like, it's going to be next year I'll be playing, like, you know, do what I can. And, you know, I was just reflecting on that in the beginning of the game, and, you know, I'm just very happy to help out the team and do whatever I can.
In the second quarter, you had the big 51-yard touchdown run. When you heard the play call in the huddle, what goes through your mind when you know that this is a chance to maybe rip off a big play?
You know, I was just trying to stay calm. I mean, I knew that, like, it had the opportunity to go big just because we hadn't run it before, and, you know, they've been really downhill. And, you know, so when I lined up, just got the ball and just ran, hoped I could, you know, outrun everyone, and it worked out, so I'm very happy.
When you get your hands on the ball, because you have some speed, at what point do you think you can take it all the way in that play?
I'd say right when I got around 89 and like was maybe like 5 yards down the field, like obviously I ran a long way before I got past the line of scrimmage, but you know, right when I was like past him, I was like, all right, yeah, it's a touchdown.
The offense seems to really be clicking right now. Tony Jones has really been running the ball well. Just what have you seen now about halfway through the season that's gone so well for you guys on offense?
Just coming in every day. I mean, Coach Long, he always says, like, I want to take the team that's there with us every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I think that's very true to who we are. I mean, we practice hard, and whether it's Bowling Green, whether it's USC, I mean, it doesn't matter to us. You know, our goal is to dominate every week, and, you know, that's really set the tone for us this year, and you can see that in the results of today.
You guys are halfway through the season. You get a bye week next week to get some rest. But what's the mindset and focus now going into the second half?
Yeah, I mean, mindset is heal up a little bit right now and then get ready for Michigan. I mean, you know, we try to think 1 week at a time, and, you know, I think when teams get a little too past us, and you'll see upsets, and, you know, we're in a good place right now, and, you know, get rest and get ready for Michigan. That's where we're at.
Congrats on the win and enjoy the break.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, Braden, Tony, thank you very much. The Irish win 30-27 over USC. Coming up in a couple of moments, we'll hear from Fighting Irish head coach Brian Kelly on Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com.
When you execute a search warrant, it's essential that you're prepared for the worst.
Ready? Ready, go.
You don't know what's waiting for you behind the door, so you respect your surroundings and trust your training.
Police department, we have a search warrant.
Executing a warrant is my favorite part of my job.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Julia Gately is part of the St. Joseph County Cybercrimes Unit. Under the leadership of Mitch Kaiser, Notre Dame students are sworn in as investigators and work on real criminal cases in the community.
Last one in.
Okay, it's all secure. Go ahead and grab the evidence kit and go in and start processing the scene. Police officers are experts in criminal law, criminal procedures, but for the most part, they know very little about technology and the internet. They didn't grow up with it their entire lives.
Looks like we've got a hidden flash drive here. All of us have been just immersed in technology. Our entire lives are on our phones. Technology has a way of showing the truth in a way that nothing else really can.
Traditionally, it takes between 6 and 9 months for a cybercrimes unit to evaluate all the evidence. In St. Joseph County, with our students, we're able to measure it not in months, but in hours and in days, holding people accountable for the crimes they commit and getting justice for our victims.
These students have helped solve a homicide. They've identified additional victims in a crime, and they've revealed evidence that has exonerated someone from a crime.
Just being able to actually see the real world impacts based on the work that we've done at the unit is incredible. This experience has solidified what I want from my life.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to uncover the evidence.
We are the Fighting Irish.
Great night for the Fighting Irish as they take down USC 30-27 at Notre Dame Stadium. The Irish are now 5-1, along with Corey Mays. I'm Darren Pritchett. Let's take a look at the top 10 scoreboard tonight. In college football, Alabama sits atop the rankings, and they took care of Texas A&M down in College Station 47-28. Clemson, a 20-point favorite. They hammered Florida State 45-14, and then the game that caught everyone's attention earlier today as Georgia lost at home to South Carolina. It was in double overtime, 20-17. And what makes it worse for Georgia, South Carolina's starting quarterback has been out for a couple of weeks. The number 2 got the start. He got knocked out, and they played half the game with their number 3 quarterback and still beat Georgia 20-17.
You never know who's sitting behind someone else,
Yeah.
so you always have to be ready for the next man up. That's the scary thing about it.
And unfortunately for Notre Dame, when you think about the college football playoff, building a resume, you wanted Georgia to go undefeated because that makes the loss look so much better. Best case scenario, Georgia, number 1 in the country. They go 12-0 into the SEC championship game. But now with Georgia losing, that really takes a little steam out of the strength of schedule for Notre Dame. Plus, last night, Virginia lost down in Miami to the Hurricanes. So it was not the greatest 24 hours for Notre Dame, as some opponents did not help them out.
Unfortunately, you can't help what your opponents do, right? You set up the right schedule. On paper, it looks absolutely great. And, you know, all you can do is control yourself and win every game. As far as Notre Dame is concerned, you can't control what your opponents are going to do.
And Michigan won over Illinois today, 42-25. So we'll talk more about Michigan in just a little bit. But right now, let's hear from the victorious head coach, Notre Dame's head man, Brian Kelly.
Well, exciting football game. Really, for our guys, they prepared so well for this game because it was so unique in that we were playing a team that was presenting an offensive structure that we hadn't seen all year, and they were coming off a bye week, and we knew that there were going to be some things that we were going to have to adjust to. So it was interesting, we were excited as a staff to play the game, obviously, because it's USC. but we were also, it was one of those things where, okay, what are we going to have to make adjustments to during the game? So after the game in the locker room, when you get a chance to kind of debrief about it, you feel really good that, what you put in was going to be effective. There were a couple of plays out there that we needed to make, but we put our kids in good position to succeed tonight. Took USC's best shot. Congratulations to them. They played a very, very good football game. Clay had them playing very well. But again, to win against your rival is one of the things that we wanted to do. And it's a traveling trophy that's important to us. And to come out as the winner tonight, we're very, very pleased. So proud of my team, proud of my coaches. And again, really good football game that we're excited to have won. So with that, I'll get to your questions because I'm sure there's a couple of them.
Brian, in the fourth quarter, they cut it to 3, and you get the ball back, and you go on a drive that eats up a lot of clock. It culminates in a touchdown. I'm curious if you could talk about just how critical that was to the result, and also what it tells you about your offense that in that position when they'd kind of taken momentum, that you're able to pull that off.
Well, that's how you have to win games. Whatever means necessary to win a football game, whether it's throwing the football or running the football, you have to be equally effective. And they were playing a two-deep zone, and it was important that we ran the football in that situation. So our offensive line, tight ends, did a great job blocking. Tony Jones was outstanding again in the fourth quarter, just like he was against Virginia. Again, taking a lot of time off the clock. I thought Chip did a really good job of being measured in terms of not wanting to push tempo, but to use clock in that situation. Just a well-orchestrated drive that ate a lot of clock because obviously, they had that quick touchdown, and it was important from my perspective that we take some time with that drive.
I feel like we talk about Tony Jones every week now, but how much has your confidence in him grown over the last month?
Well, Tony has been kind of, pigeonholed into this kind of, journeyman back, but he does so many things well. He just doesn't have, 4.3 speed, but he blocks. He's tough. He's physical. He's going to get you the extra yard. Who wouldn't want a back like that? He plays through nicks and bumps. He practices hard. He's a great teammate. Give me a boatload of Tony Joneses. I'll take him in a heartbeat.
Brian here in the front.
Yeah.
The Braden Lindsey touchdown, can you talk about like the play, why that was that time to call it, and then just obviously Braden giving you a little bit more and sort of the dimension that adds?
No doubt. I mean, we're trying to find roles for Braden and breaking him into our lineup. As you can see, he's got great speed. We pulled both the backside guard and tackle. One of our big plays is the counter play. Very aggressive inside backers flowing to the football. They were over the top on a couple of plays, and we're like, this is a perfect time for it. So we had set it up accordingly, and I thought the timing was outstanding. Chip called it, hit it at the right time. We got good blocking on the perimeter. But as you can tell, we've run that a couple of times. I think we ran it against New Mexico. It's been effective. If you're overplaying our pull play with those backers and getting safety support, which they were, you're vulnerable to it. So they consequently went back and played cover 2 to balance up, and that gave us some, softer run opportunities.
I mean, is that one of those situations where Chip's got to like have some plays that don't work to see how they defend it, so then you can counter them?
Yes, well, I think what you need more than anything else is patience. You're prodding, you're patient, you're waiting for your opportunities to kind of unfold. If you just say, I'm going to give up on the running game here in the third quarter, you're not going to have those opportunities later. And we got a lot of that, the bang for the buck, if you will, in the fourth quarter by the things that we did earlier, and they showed themselves because he was patient with the running game.
Just big picture, the maturity of the team that you needed to see coming out of Georgia, do you feel like you've sort of seen it more and more every week?
Yeah, they're not too high, they're not too low. At halftime, they knew that they had to play for 4 quarters. There was no giddiness of, hey, we got this thing. They knew that USC, just they had bite to them. This team had a bite. You know, this was not a team. Look, I mean, I have a great deal of respect for USC and its tradition, and in particular for Clay. But this team has some fight to it, and you could feel that out there, and our kids can too. When you're down on the field, you know if a team's got some fight in them. They had some fight, and they could feel that at halftime that they were going to have to play 4 quarters.
Brent, to your left here. Right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
That's okay. You gave a couple different looks defensively, 3 down. You'd bring Drew White in. You did some different things on the back end. Could you just give a general idea of what you were trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, I think we accomplished what we wanted to. You know, Pittman, 4 catches for 29 yards. I mean, that was first and foremost. He could not be a game wrecker. You know, Amon St. Brown, you know, we were in the right coverage, you know, on his touchdown. We needed to be in better leverage. That's one where we needed to execute better in that situation. But number one was to take Pittman out of the game, which we did. And I thought in the first half we executed exactly the way I wanted it to defensively. In the second half, we give up the touchdown that we didn't execute very well. The second drive, you know, we got caught in some man situations where we got to make a play and some man. And the third drive, we're trying to take time off the clock. I mean, we were in a prevent kind of situation to take clock and just get the onside kick and end the game.
And then offensively, you talked during the week about how talented you thought USC was up front, individually anyway. To rush for 360 or 306 yards against that group, how did you accomplish that?
Well, look, I mean, I could stand up here and BS you guys all day and tell you, you know, we're the second coming of, you know, the Green Bay Packers rushing attack, but they were in too deep. You know, so they didn't want us to throw the football. They didn't like the matchup early. You saw it. We got a one-on-one matchup early, and we took advantage of it because they went man and they pressured us. They must have said that's not going to be the way this game goes. They went too deep, and they gave us some box looks to run the football. We have to be able to offensively, if you're going to play too deep, we got to run the football. If we can't, we're not good enough. If you're going to play man and pressure us and load the box, it's hard to run the football. We better be able to throw the football. And that effectively is what happened. We had fair numbers to run the football today, and that's how we won the football game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Over on your right, Tim took one of my 2, so I also wanted to ask.
We'll give you 3 then.
No, I only need the 1.
Oh, what a great guy.
As you changed all those defensive personnels, Asmar stayed on the field. I don't know if you would have expected that 6 weeks ago, and tonight
Right.
he leads with 11 tackles. What showed tonight in how much he's developed in the last 2 months?
Well, he closes really well. I mean, if you look at it, his experience in playing football, we kind of like his sense around the line of scrimmage. You know, he can fit a broad spectrum on that. You know, what was a loose box for us. You know, we were gap short most of the day. So we like the ability of him to run things down for us. And he's pretty good with a rolled-up corner on the backside as a curl player. So just getting another athlete on the field, we just kind of like his experience and did a nice job for us tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Brian, I think we can all agree.
I'm sorry, Phil.
I think we can all agree that you have a pretty good kicker. And when did you know you had a good kicker? Was it last spring? Was it this fall? Was it tonight?
Well, there's 2 things here, right? You know, so we knew the physical capabilities of our kicker when we recruited him. We thought he had a exceptional leg, and he was a talent. But there's more to it, right? I mean, it's, again, poor analogy, but he could drive the golf ball 350 yards, but he'd be in the trees half the time. So it was about how do we get this young man to really, you know, hone in on this exceptional skill that he has. And, you know, he's done an incredible job of really, building a repetition in his swing, his leg swing, that he is so confident now in what he does that he's unflappable. He can go into any situation and he trusts what he is doing. And it's like anything else. When you go on that first tee and you trust your swing, you feel like you can hit it no matter what the situation is. And he's in a similar kind of state now. He wasn't there. Listen, if you were here last year, I mean, we had some interesting conversations on the sideline. So he's done a great job of putting himself in the position. He got the game ball tonight, and it's just great to see that maturation.
And did that maturation really start in the spring? Did you know in the spring he was hitting with that consistency?
We saw the development because he chose to address it. You can just say you can blame it on a million things, and I'm not getting treated right, or I'm not getting a fair shake. You're too hard on me. That was not his mindset. His mindset is, I've got to do better. I'm a better kicker than this. I'm going to find a way to make sure that I am repeating this, and I'm going to be the kind of kicker I think I should be. And all the credit goes to him.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Brian, going kind of off of the Doer talk, what can you say about the way that special teams has improved this season in general?
Well, I think Brian has done an outstanding job, quite frankly. I think his approach has had a lot to do with it, and his approach has been one where he has garnered the support of the group in a manner that he's a warm and fuzzy guy. And I would never have said that about Brian Polian. And the warm and fuzzy has been one that the guys enjoy coming to the meetings. They enjoy playing for him. They want to play for him. He was a hard charger. And, there was a bit of an edge to him. And there still is an edge to him. Believe me, I got to pull him back half the time. But they want to play for Brian. And good for him. He's really done a nice job of developing that unit to where those guys want to run down on a kickoff team. And they want to make tackles because they have an immense amount of pride for that unit, and he's built that and instilled it. So a lot of credit goes to him.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Well, after beating USC 30-27, Notre Dame will enjoy a bye week, then a trip to Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan 5-1. Their quarterback Shea Patterson completing 58% of his passes. Turnovers have been a problem for the Wolverines so far this year. Corey, as we look ahead to the Maize and Blue, what is it going to take for the Irish to walk away with a victory?
They have to walk in there with an attitude in the big house and walk out with the deed to the house. So tonight, the same effort, that same physical running offense, you have to bring that to that game. And that same defense that's created turnovers and has rushed the passer, you got to bring that to the game too. So those are really the keys, and special teams as well. Keep doing your thing there. So, I mean, it's really simple as just keeping that momentum that you have. You hate to see it stop by a bye week, but fortunately, you do have the bye week to get healthy, to go over the basic blocking techniques and tackling and all those things, and get the younger players or inexperienced players some extra reps in practice as well.
And for Michigan, they have to go to Penn State before taking on the Fighting Irish. The Irish over the Trojans 30-27. For Corey Mays, I'm Darren Pritchett. Thanks for joining us for Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com.